In And Then We Held Hands, two players are attempting to maintain their struggling romantic relationship, trying to balance out their emotions in order to reach the center of the board together while communicating only with their actions. While $25 retail, you can find this game for around $18 online as of writing. In the box, you'll find 48 emotion cards, 24 objective cards, 4 player tokens, 2 cover cards, a game board, and a rule book. The cards have a nice finish and white borders that allow them to remain in good condition after multiple playthroughs. The art, while I'm not a huge fan, presents the themes and ideas at hand very well. The player tokens are serviceable, but look almost identical, despite that they are supposed to be purple and orange respectively. The board works well and communicates all the visual information, though you may struggle attempting to make it sit flat. The rulebook is brief and conveys the rules in a timely manner, even if you have to read it over a few times to fully understand it. The insert is pretty abysmal, all things considered, but I'm hardly surprised by this anymore, and it at least serves its purpose. In And Then They Held Hands, players are attempting to complete all 24 objectives before reaching the middle together. If players can accomplish this, they win. Each player starts with a set of 6 cards, with the left and right sides of the card presenting different colors, representing the different emotions. Players can choose to start with all of their cards showing the left side or the right side, with the cover card hiding the unused side of the top card. Each round features 8 objective cards. Objectives are completed by a player ending their turn on that colored spot on the board in the ring associated with that round. On a player's turn, they may play any number of cards from their hand and from the hand of their companion, moving their token on the board across the colored dots associated with the cards played. This, like every other action in the game, must be done without communicating with the other player. It's important to note that players may not move through one another's tokens. Once their movement has concluded, that player must adjust their emotional state based on what cards they played. If a player's emotional state becomes too positive or too negative, both players immediately lose. If a player's emotional state is balanced at the end of the turn, they refresh their hand back to 6 cards. Otherwise, they simply keep the cards they already have. If, during their turn, a player moves their token to one side of the board, they must make sure that all of their cards are shifted to match where the token is. So if a player's token is on the left side of the board, all cards must show only the left emotions on their cards. If their token stops in the center of the board, they must choose whether to keep their cards as they are or to switch them to the other side immediately. Lastly, if a player has completed an objective, it is discarded and replaced. Once all 8 objectives of a round is complete, players must move their tokens 1 circle closer to the center, limiting their movement options. While they can move in between the various circles on the board, each new objective must be completed on a spot found within that new circle. This continues until either players have completed all their objectives or they lose. If successful up until this point, players must reach the center of the board on consecutive turns, each with balanced emotions as they enter the center. If they do this, they immediately win. Players can lose by running out of cards in the draw deck, being unable to move on a given turn, or pushing their emotions too far in any one direction. Most games will last 25 to 30 minutes. And Then They Held Hands presents an incredibly unique and fascinating concept for a 2-player game, with the theming and gameplay forming a wholly individual identity. It's a great feeling to find yourself syncing up with your partner, whether it be a friend or a significant other, without having to say a word. The concept is simple enough for players of most skill sets to grasp, yet provides enough challenge to theoretically bring you back to the game again and again. I say theoretically because, for me, this game falls flat despite the aforementioned strengths. Luck of the draw will easily make or break a game for you, potentially limiting your options in a way where you can't help but lose. The limited communication aspect is ultimately a gimmick. where the Grizzle does this to create tension and an uncertain atmosphere while preventing alpha gaming, and Then We Held Hands lays all of its cards on the table from the start. Every turn, there is an optimal move, and if you or your friend doesn't see it, it can create frustrating experiences. From a pricing perspective, this game has serviceable components, but nothing that wowed me or made me rush to play it again, though it is fairly cheap. And Then We Held Hands is a great co-op game for couples or friends looking to try something new, but namely for those who don't play games often. If you find yourself meeting with weekly game groups, I could see this game becoming stale rather quickly. Still, there's nothing quite like it out there, so if you like the premise, I'd say it's worth checking out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw here, be sure to like and subscribe, let me know what you thought in the comments section down below, and be sure to check us out on Facebook and GamesOnTape.com.